What's up, everybody? Colin, Sheehan here from Trust the Profits live on YouTube. I am representing my black and gold, of course, after the big win against the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 1. Such a huge performance from Jeremy Swayman. To make those big saves in the first 2 minutes at home in Game 1, you can't give up a goal in the beginning of that game. And so the Bruins, with the big 5-1 win in Game 1, off to a great start. So we got to put that out there to tease El Hombre a little bit. This video here is I was doing some research going through the Kentucky Derby media guide, finding some pretty cool stats. And I figured, hey, if I find this stuff's cool, why not put it out there for all of you in a way that may make it interesting? Obviously, stuff that's happened in the past, the information you're going to get in this video isn't necessarily going to provide you the winner for this year's Kentucky Derby. However, it's some food for thought, a couple nuggets to give you to talk around the water cooler. So we'll start it off here with a little bit of alphabet soup. There's been 149 runnings of the Kentucky Derby, and there have been 1,995 horses that have competed. So we're going to be going over 2,000 horses with this year's field. No starter has begun with this letter. There's only one letter that has not had a horse in the Kentucky Derby start with. Put it in the comment section and stick around, because at the end of this video, we will let you know which letter that is. And actually, for a bonus, there's two letters that have never had a Kentucky Derby winner. So one letter's never had a starter. Two letters have never been the name of a winner. See if you can get that in the chat. And stick around for some more fun facts of the Kentucky Derby.
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
That's right. Go check out Game of Silks at silks.io. I think I have 6 runners over the course of the next week. There's been a lull in my stable as far as having horses hitting the track, and suddenly I've got 6 over the course of 2 or 3 days. So really excited to hopefully get my first winner. Check out on the page here, we did a reveal of 2 horses in my last syndicate. If you're interested in getting into a syndicate, if you're interested in finding out more, feel free to email us at Trust the Profits. You can find our email in the About section here on this video, or you can always reach out to me on X. As I said, this is a little bit of Kentucky Derbies, fun facts, by the numbers, whatever you want to call it. We're going to start off with trainers, obviously so important. Which trainers have had 3 starters in the Kentucky Derby? Well, Dwayne Lucas has had 3 starters 5 times, including 1995 when he had Thunder Gulch win the Kentucky Derby in Timber Country finish in 3rd. The last time we've had a trainer have 3 starters in the Kentucky Derby was actually Brad Cox and Todd Pletcher in the same Derby. That was 2022. Cox brought in Tawny Port, Zozos, and Cyberknife. The best of that group was Tawny Port, who finished 7th. And then in that same year, you had Todd Pletcher with Mo Donegal, Charge It, and Pioneer of Medina. Mo Donegal was the best of that group, finishing 5th. This year, Brad Cox, at least as of this moment, of course, a lot can change between now and the race starting, but Brad Cox right now has the possibility of 3 starters with Catching Freedom, Encino, and Just a Touch. So a little bit of fun fact there. Steve Asmussen in 2017 had Looking at Lee, Hence, and Untrapped. How about most starts? Well, the top 2 here are no stranger to the Kentucky Derby, and interestingly enough, they'll both, as we say, we don't know yet, but most likely we'll have some starters in this year's Kentucky Derby. Dwayne Lucas, first starter in 1981. Pretty impressive to have 49 starts and 4 victories. The last time Dwayne Lucas, Coach Lucas, had a starter was Bravazzo in 2018. He was the winner of the Risen Star that year. That was actually his last win, interestingly enough. He finished 6th that year, and was second in the Preakness behind a horse by the name of Justify. Yeah, that Justify. Bravazza was 15-1 that year. This year, Coach Lucas has the shot with Just Steel. And, of course, Pletcher has the shot with Fierceness. Of course, last year, Pletcher and those same connections brought Forte to the Derby and was scratched morning of. We all can understand how painful that was. He returns this year with another excellent shot, a horse that most likely will be favorite, if not co-favorite, with Sierra Leone, and that is with Fierceness. Lucas has had 4 Derby wins. This has him tied for 3rd. Bob Baffert has 6. That has him tied with Ben Johnson for 1st place. The other Lucas wins there, of course, were Winning Colors, Thunder Gulch, Charismatic, and who was his last? Grindstone in 1996. How about, before we turn the page to the jockeys, I did want to mention one more thing about trainer starts, because Steve Asmussen, you see there on the bottom of the list, 25 starts with 0 victories. He has his shot this year with Track Phantom, horse that is absolutely going to be forwardly placed in on the lead, not necessarily sure about the distance. Chad Brown has had 7 starters. Looks like he is in line to bring 2 this year with Domestic Product and Sierra Leone. Danny Gargan, trainer of Dornoch, has 1 starter. That was in 2018 with a horse by the name of Tax. Bill Mott, 12 starters. Actually had that win in 2019 with Country House. Remember that race with Maximum Security. And then Christophe Clement, who trains Deterministic, who we think will be an unlikely starter in the Kentucky Derby. Clement actually has 0 starts. Kudos to him for always doing right by the horse, and you can kind of see that. Although he's never had a starter in the Kentucky Derby, he's got a horse like Deterministic. We'll see where he ends up doing with Deterministic. And then you have a bunch of trainers who are going to have their first shot. Larry Demerit with West Saratoga, Whitman Beckman with Honor Marie, Michael McCarthy with Endlessly, another horse who we're waiting to hear. Is this a horse that's going to stay on the turf? Obviously has shown the capability over the turf in the synthetic. Phil D'Amato with Stronghold. That would be his first. And then Yoshido Yahagi, the trainer of Forever Young, he actually had Continuar last year, who ended up scratching. Remember, we had all those scratches leading up to the Kentucky Derby. And Taki Yanagi has T.O. Password. Obviously, the horse coming over from Japan is also going to have his first starter. So that's a little bit of info on the trainer side. Let's take a look at your jockeys. And most starts, Mike Smith with 28 mounts. Bill Shoemaker, 26. And then Johnny V with 25 has 3 victories. The one not listed there is Authentic in 2020. So Animal Kingdom and Always Dreaming. Last time a jockey went back-to-back was Victor Espinoza with California Chrome and the incredible American Pharaoh. Of course, last year, Javier Castellano won aboard Mage. Was maybe going to be the mount for No More Time, but with No More Time out, it'll be interesting to see if Castellano picks up any of those horses, maybe if there's scratches and the pins fall a certain way. But right now he's on the outside looking in for a mount to try to break that long streak here of not having a jockey go back-to-back. How about first mounts? The last time that a jockey won the Kentucky Derby on his first mount was Sonny Leon with Rich Strike. Remember that long shot? Prior to that, it was Mario Gutierrez with I'll Have Another. And I was actually looking through the books. There's actually 23 jockeys who are either a perfect 1-for-1 or 2-for-2. That kind of stood out to me as I was looking through horses that were undefeated. And I'm sorry, jockeys. And when I found 23 of them, that was a little bit shocking to me. Antonio Frezu will have his first start in the Kentucky Derby this year aboard Stronghold. And then Ben Curtis on Honor Marie, unless Honor Marie goes maybe with Rafael Bejarano, who actually has 13 mounts so far in the Kentucky Derby, with his best being a 4th place finish with Papa Clem. Something else I thought was interesting in the media guide was, how about that sibling rivalry of Jose Ortiz and Irad Ortiz, 2 that we very much consider the best, 2 of the best jockeys. Take a lot of heat on Twitter for some of their performances, but it's hard to argue that they're not two of the best right now. They've gone up against each other 6 times. Jose Ortiz has been 8 mounts in the Kentucky Derby. His best finish was a 2nd with Good Magic. He also has a 3rd. Irad has yet to hit the board, actually. He's been in the Derby 7 times. His best finish was Improbable, who finished 4th. And you have, that was in 2019, and possibly aboard Domestic Product. And Jose right now, another one, maybe not necessarily sure where that mount will fall. It all depends on what happens over the course of the next 2 weeks. How about post positions? It's always talked about that number 17 there. You can see 0%. And everyone always talks about the 1 hole. Well, the win percentage of 8.5% can be a little deceiving, because the last time a horse won from that 1 hole was Ferdinand in 1986. And the other 7 that won were between the years of 1937 and 1963. So you're going back a long time where you get that 8.5% winning percentage from that first hole. Looking at Lee, was the last time to be in the money in 2017, finishing 2nd. Of course, you have the new gate now, so that has allowed for a lot more space for that 1 hole, whereas before they used to be basically running into the rail, and they would always have to get over. The new gate allows for the 1 horse in the 1 hole to be in a position where it's certainly not as dangerous for the horse and for the jockey. Whereas if you look to the outside, it's actually not as bad. Everyone talks about the 17, as I mentioned, but look at the 14, only 3%. There's only 2 wins out of 67 starts, and those wins came in 1961 and 1950. So if you're 14 is your number, it has not been very kind to you. Essential Quality was in that 14 hole, finishing 3rd in 2021. How about Show Me the Money? Look at the highest payoffs all time in the Kentucky Derby. Of course, Rich Strike. What struck me here was how recent out of the top 5 there, 4 of them were. Now, of course, the record was in 1913, $184 for your $2 win. But you got Rich Strike, Country House, Mind That Bird, and Giacomo, all within the last basically 20 years. Now, Giacomo, the year of 2005, is the one that took out the record for all the other payouts with Exacta, Trifecta, and Superfecta. Giacomo went off at 50-1. Closing Argument was 72-1 that year, with a Fleet Alex finishing 3rd. $133,000 for your $2 Trifecta. And look at the $1 Super. $864,000. Just unbelievable. Even a $9,800 Exacta for $2 is just unheard of. That was just such a freak of a race, with those 2 finishing 1, 2. How about I Want to Be a Millionaire? 4 horses have entered as millionaires and won the Kentucky Derby. So these horses were millionaires coming in to the race. Authentic was as well. However, that was the year of COVID, so the Derby was later in the year. So I decided to leave Authentic off the list here. But Nyquist, you're only over $3 million horse coming into the Kentucky Derby. That was in 2016. American Pharaoh, 2015. California Chrome in 14. And Street Sense in 2007. All of these finished. 4 horses were entered over $2 million, and all 4 of those finished in the top 4. The other 4 were Essential Quality, Tis the Law, and Classic Empire. Now, what does that have to? What impact does this year have? Well, Forever Young enters with over $2 million in earnings. He will be 4th all time entering the Kentucky Derby. For context, Dermisota Jockey came into the Derby last year with $1.1 million in the bank and finished 6th. Now there's another millionaire in the field this year, and that is Fierceness. Of course, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and the Florida Derby, enters with $1.7 million. So if you feel that a horse that coming into the race with over $1 million in earnings is going to do well, as they have, Forever Young and Fierceness would be the ones that you might want to pay attention to as far as that is concerned. 35 horses have entered the Kentucky Derby undefeated. 9 of those have won. Justified, Big Brown are the only had 3 wins coming in, whereas Nyquist had 7 wins. Of course, Forever Young also checks that box, coming in to the race undefeated. Let's get to the trivia question I presented to you at the beginning. So, 149 runnings of the Kentucky Derby. The only letter to not have a starter, that is the letter X. X. If you put that in the comments, congratulations. And there have been no winners starting with the letters Q and Y, although there have been 7 starters that have had a name beginning with Q and 3 starting with the letter Y. That was some of the fun stuff that I've came across going through the Kentucky Derby media guide. If you found any stats or have some memories of the Kentucky Derby, feel free to also throw that in the comments. Hang around on the channel. We've got plenty of content coming your way over the course of the next 2 weeks. We'll break down every horse for you. We will have a roundtable looking at post position draws, looking at pace. We've all got you covered here on Trust the Profits. Like and subscribe. My name's Colin Sheehan. Until next time, good luck, everybody. Go Bruins!